in Arkansas right now, there are some cautious steps towards reopening. The governor, Asa Hutchinson, says he's hoping to open many businesses and group venues like churches, for example, on May 4th. But is it too soon? Today, CNN learned that the state prison in Gould, Arkansas, with at least 800 inmates have now tested positive for coronavirus, along with at least 33 staff members. The governor, Asa Hutchinson, is joining us now. Governor Hutchinson, thanks so much for joining us. I want to discuss what's going on in your state in a moment, but I wonder if you want to give us your reaction right now to the possible shakeup that we've just been reporting. Other news organizations are reporting it as well at the Department of Health and Human Services.
Well, I've always had a very good relationship with Secretary Azar. They've been very responsive to us on the waiver requests that we've had. So, the president obviously has to have his team in place, but I think he's been a positive force in terms of dealing with this crisis and helping the states get through it.
All right, let's talk about your plans to get the economy going in Arkansas, and all of us hope it'll get going soon. But you got to err, of course, on the side of caution. The White House guidelines, as you know, Governor, say states should have a downward trajectory of positive tests before reopening. In Arkansas, cases are actually doubling roughly every 2 weeks. So why are you taking these initial steps to reopen?
Well, I've set the date of May the 4th in terms of the date we will look at lifting some of the restrictions if we have the right level of progress. The gating criteria that the White House left, there is some flexibility for the states, as the president indicated, and you look at about 3 or 4 criteria that they set. We're in really good shape in terms of our positivity, on our testing, on our hospital capacity, on our personal protective equipment. All of those look good for us. We have plateaued in terms of our cases, but we haven't seen 14 days of decline. That is exactly right. And so we're going to look at it step by step. I've set this week as decision points for restaurants and for hair salons. That doesn't mean we're going to lift the restrictions. It says we're going to make a decision on those based upon the data. We look at all of the facts, and the people are ready to go to work, so there's a lot of pressure point on there. They don't want to be unemployed. They want to work, but we want to have the right safety precautions in. We want to be able to continue to control the spread of this. You did mention the prisons, which is a great concern to us. That's not the community spread that we're most concerned about. We're very concerned about it in the prison environment. We're taking steps there, but that's a unique environment there, and we will not simply make the decisions based upon what's happening there, but we look at it from a statewide perspective.
Yeah, that's a serious problem. The prisons, not only in Arkansas, but many prisons around the country right now. What about nursing homes in Arkansas?
Well, we've had our challenges there as well. Of course, we put in the restriction of no outside visitors into the nursing homes. And we have a great Department of Health that does the contact tracing, and it's allowed us to manage the breakouts when we have them in a nursing home environment. But we want to make sure they get the special attention that's needed. We want to have the testing capacity for them as we have. But right now, that's an area of concern, although it's not the same extent it is in a number of other states.
Arkansas is one of 8 states that didn't issue a formal stay-at-home order during the outbreak. In hindsight, Governor, do you think you should have considered that?
No, it's absolutely the right decision to make. I think we see now, looking back, that we're better coming out of this. The fact that we had a targeted approach, we closed state parks, we closed restaurants, we closed things that made a difference for us, but we kept other businesses open with social distancing, with wearing a mask, and that has been an effective strategy for us. And I think you can see that in other states because they have to figure out how do they come out of and open any businesses and what's the criteria that they use. We're going to come out of this in the same way. We're not going to necessarily come out all at once on one day, but we're going to look at industry by industry, how we measure it, how we can come out of those and lift some of the restrictions, get back to business, but do it in a safe way, and that's been our approach from day one.
Safety first. Earlier tonight, the Kentucky Governor Beshear told CNN he strongly disagrees with Senator Mitch McConnell on the Senate Majority Leader's comments that declaring bankruptcy might actually be best for state governments. You're the governor of a state. Would bankruptcy be an option? God forbid, if the economic situation clearly deteriorated for Arkansas, if this pandemic led to that kind of budget crisis, should you file for bankruptcy or get more federal financial assistance?
Well, neither one. Neither one is the option we look at. We balance the budget every year. That's mandated, and so when we have a budget shortfall, we simply tighten the belt and we continue to balance the budget. That's the way we're going to do it, and more states need to follow that example. But and I'm glad you asked the question. Obviously, I would not use the word bankruptcy, and I hope no state has to go through that. We hope that they can come back in their economy. But I believe the Congress has had the right priority thus far in putting money into small businesses and the self-employed and the unemployed, making sure that that is feeding the recovery of our economy. I don't believe that we need to go and use the U.S. Treasury and mortgage our grandchildren's life and say we're going to fund all the states and their budgets. I have great reservations about that, and I think we need to go slow on that, and I think we have to really look at each state and what is their budget situation, and it's too early to really determine that and how they can come out of that. I think we have to be very cautious about saying we're going to be funding all the states' budget shortfall.
Yeah, that would be bad, and filing bankruptcy would be bad as well. Both of them pretty awful scenarios unfolding. Governor Hutchinson, as usual, thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be with you, Wolf.
And good luck to all the folks in Arkansas. You got a great state down there.